Now at 5, animal cruelty charges are requested against the handler of a canine that died in August. Plus, we'll hear from a Joplin woman from Israel about how the war there is impacting her family, and
a shakeup in the race for House Speaker. I'm Natalie Brand on Capitol Hill with a look at the candidates who have emerged after Majority Leader Steve Scalise dropped out.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Labette County Sheriff's Office requests charges against a Parsons police officer following a report that shows the officer's canine died of overheating. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Tanya Bach. Authorities say canine Kareem was found dead in his kennel in August. A necropsy report of Kareem was returned on Wednesday showing extreme temperatures the day of his death were the sole factor in his passing. The sheriff is now requesting charges of cruelty to animals against the handler. Labette County Attorney's Office must now determine whether to pursue those charges. Well, meteorologist Sam Lane is joining us with a first look at your forecast.
All right, thank you very much, Tanya. We had quite a bit of shower and thunderstorm activity last night in the area, but now those thunderstorms are racing over into eastern Missouri. Tornado watch in effect for parts of Iowa this evening. Fortunately, nothing like that in our area. Instead, we had some rain last night. You can see some swaths of precipitation here, almost an inch. They're just east of Fredonia, a little over an inch just north and west of Miami, around an inch and a half north of Grove, and also around an inch near Mount Vernon. But at least some folks got some decent rainfall, and we definitely need it as the drought is continuing. Temperatures tonight are going to drop through the 60s into the 50s, all the way down to 47 degrees by tomorrow morning. And if you're heading out to the big game of the week at Frontenac, this is what we're looking at 7 o'clock tonight. We're expecting kickoff temperature of 58 degrees, breezy conditions, increasing clouds, and a halftime temperature of 54 degrees. And I'll be back with more in the forecast as we are looking at a chilly weekend across the area, and I'll have details on that in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Sam. House Republicans are scrambling to figure out who will be their next speaker after a major shakeup in the race. Majority Leader Steve Scalise withdrew his bid late last night, highlighting deep divisions among congressional Republicans. Natalie Brand has more details from Capitol Hill.
Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan relaunched his candidacy for Speaker Friday after Majority Leader Steve Scalise dropped out of the race late Thursday night.
We had a number of our colleagues come to that call me last night, which I think we have. So we will go to the conference and talk with our colleagues. But I feel real good about my side.
But some House Republicans are skeptical Jordan will be able to get enough support from moderates to get the 217 votes needed to win on the House floor.
I think there's enough people that would see what has happened and transpired over the last 40 hours to not support him that we're going to have the same problem with Jordan that we had with Scalise. So I think it's a math problem.
And Jordan has new competition, with Georgia Congressman Austin Scott filing to run, saying he wants to, quote, lead a House that functions.
If we as Republicans are going to get the majority, we have to do the right things the right way. We're not doing that right now.
As this race drags on following McCarthy's ouster more than a week ago, House Republicans have expressed they're disappointed with their process.
There's some deep mistrust, there's some communication problems, and some things are jacked up.
While the timeline remains up in the air, House Democrats are urging their members to be ready to vote on a moment's notice. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
House Democrats are expected to nominate and vote unanimously for Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. That means Republicans can only have 4 members vote opposite of the rest of their caucus in order to have their candidate get the votes necessary. Well, Palestinians in northern Gaza have been given hours to leave the region after Israel told around 1 million people there to move south, where border crossings remain closed. It's a sign a ground invasion could be coming soon in response to Hamas' deadly terror attack last week. President Biden held a call for more than an hour with relatives of Americans who still remain unaccounted for. Well, the Israel-Hamas war might feel far away, but some 4 state residents are directly affected by it. Joplin resident Renat Nielsen is one of them. Originally from Israel, she moved to the United States 20 years ago, but is now seeing her twin sister dealing with the daily consequences of the conflict. KOAM's Fernanda Silva sat with her to understand how the war is affecting her and her family.
Rinat Nielsen knows the fear many are facing in Israel and Palestine. Her twin sister, Irela, lives near Tel Aviv.
She hears the sirens. She hears the missiles. If it's close enough, the whole house will shake.
For Nielsen and the United Hebrew Congregation of Joplin, the Palestinians are as much victims as the Israelis. They say the Hamas are the ones to blame.
The Palestinians, who are not the organization, terror organizations, are friendly people. Everyday, hardworking people.
Hamas is an enemy of Israel, but they're also an enemy of the Palestinians. The way they treat the people in Palestine, for instance, they set up rocket launchers in schoolyards and in hospital yards. So they force a situation where if Israel is going to defend itself by attacking the rocket launchers, they're going to wind up attacking schools and hospitals.
With thousands of Palestinians and Israelis already victims, Nielsen fears for her sister.
We have a connection that no one else understands. And so losing her, I'll have nothing to live for. I love her. I don't know what I'll do if I lose her. I don't know.
Still, they're hopeful.
I want to believe it will be peace one day, but I'm not sure.
We're all hopeful that not only her and my family, but everyone in Israel, there will be no more casualties, no more killings.
In Joplin, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
Tonight at 6, we'll hear more from Nielsen and her sister about the Israel-Hamas war. Still ahead, a massive strike not ending soon.
The auto workers' strike could soon be expanding. I'm Bradley Blackburn with the latest on the country's labor disputes, including a potential deal for thousands of healthcare workers.
And next in Health Watch, if you plan to watch the solar eclipse this weekend, we'll have tips so you can do it safely. Topping today's Health Watch, the last flu season hit children and teens particularly hard. CDC data shows flu hospitalizations for kids were high from October 2022 to February of this year, and cases occurred early in the flu season. Researchers point out fewer children are getting their flu shots compared to previous years. Doctors recommend everyone ages 6 months and older get their flu shots, ideally by the end of October. Well, this weekend, a ring of fire solar eclipse will be visible across portions of the United States. During the annular solar eclipse, the moon appears slightly smaller than the sun. Sky gazers are set to watch the action unfold on Saturday, but as Danya Bacchus shows us, protecting your eyes is essential for safe viewing.
A rare celestial show is coming to the sky, the Ring of Fire solar eclipse. Americans from Oregon to Texas will have a great view, but before gazing up, experts say don't look directly at it without proper protection.
UV rays from the sun is very strong and can cause damage to the retina, which is a very sensitive area of the eyes responsible for visual acuity or sharpest point of your vision.
Dr. Annie Nguyen is an ophthalmologist with Keck School of Medicine at the University of Southern California.
You think like the darkest, pair of sunglasses can shield off most of these rays. Even the ones that are marked 100% UV protective, like sunglasses, are not safe for, looking at the sun.
There are special solar viewers or glasses needed to protect your eyes while looking at a solar eclipse. Make sure they are certified ISO 12312-2 and the glasses aren't expired or damaged.
Also check that the vendor selling the glasses is approved by the American Astronomical Society. Without the glasses or filter covering your eyes, the damage is potentially irreversible.
12 hours to a couple of days to really notice the damage, and there are no pain receptors on the retina, so you won't feel the pain either.
If you view this weekend's annular solar eclipse and notice a decrease in vision, dark spot, or color distortion, contact your eye doctor right away. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Well, much more of the country will be able to view the total solar eclipse this April. The AAS has a list of glasses suppliers that meet all safety requirements. You can also ask your local eye doctor if they carry these special viewing glasses. An estimated 1 in 5 adults in the U.S. suffers from arthritis. That's according to new data from the CDC. It shows 53 million Americans have arthritis, with 88% of them 45 and older. The CDC recommends all adults maintain a healthy weight and exercise regularly to limit their risk. That's a look at today's health news. A little later, in honor of Friday the 13th, we learn about a Joplin area icon, the Joplin Spook Light.
And the weather forecast isn't spooky. It's going to be chilly instead as we head towards the weekend. I'll have all the details when we come back. Well, it was a little bit cooler today than it was yesterday, with temperatures still falling behind that cold front that brought us some rain last night. Let's take a look outside right now at Seneca, Missouri at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Things are looking pretty nice there. Lots of sunshine and a little bit cooler. You can also see the leaves starting to turn a little bit. We made it up to 67, but that was last night after the front or before the front moved through, which was slightly below the normals of 72 and 49, but we were above on the low. But by midnight, we'll probably get closer to that 49 degrees and 20 hundredths on the rainfall. And that makes us still about 10, almost 10 and a half inches behind for the year. Temperatures right now are in the 60s for the most part. 62 in Iola, 63 in Yates Center, 66 in Independence. Notice the winds are out of the northwest, and that's going to be bringing in some cooler air. In fact, we're about 10 degrees cooler tonight at this hour than we were last night. 10 degrees at Iola, Fort Scott, and Girard, and a little bit warmer down to the south, but they were still a little bit cooler now than they were 24 hours ago in Bella Vista. And we're going to be seeing those temperatures falling as we go through the overnight hours. Here's the big storm system now making its way across southern Missouri or southern Iowa. You can see the spin on this storm and a lot of clouds back behind it, and those clouds are moving in our direction, and that's what's going to spoil the eclipse for tomorrow, and we'll show you that in just a moment. The drought index came out today, and we're starting to get dry again across Jasper and Newton counties. Of course, the drought is still in extreme category for Chautauqua, Elk, and parts of Montgomery counties, and unfortunately no rainfall to be found for at least the next 12 to 24 hours. But then late tomorrow night, we could see a few sprinkles, especially up towards the north. And on the rainfall forecast, if it does rain, it'll be generally less than 1/10 of an inch, and that will mainly be up to the north and east of the metro area. So looking at the forecast tonight, we're going to see those clouds start to wrap in from the north tonight, with temperatures dropping down into the upper 40s and lower 50s on northwest winds. Then tomorrow, at around eclipse time, unfortunately, you can see lots of clouds. So we're not likely going to see the eclipse here in the 4 states with temperatures in the mid-50s. And then as we head through the afternoon, we're still going to be socked in with clouds with temperatures in the upper 50s to lower 60s. And then the sprinkles and light showers start to move in late Saturday night and early Sunday morning. Again, best chance of that up to the north and east with lows in the 50s. And then Sunday afternoon, a few breaks in the clouds, especially as we head through the afternoon on Sunday, with temperature starting out around 50 degrees in the morning, and then in the afternoon, again, a few more breaks in the clouds and temperatures in the upper 50s. And here's the big storm system that's over us now. That's rapidly moving away. And then as we go through time, here comes the cool air for the weekend, but then a big storm system is going to be impacting us again the middle part of next week. But there's still a lot of discrepancy in exactly how this storm system is going to evolve. One of the models is forecasting it's going to rapidly move through. Other model says, no, it's going to kind of hang out a while. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how that's going to pan out. But in the meantime, we're going to be cool. Temperatures in the upper 50s to lower 60s. And then here comes that chance of rain on Thursday. Right now, I'm optimistic that the European model is going to verify and it will skedaddle on through. But we'll have to wait and see exactly how that's going to pan out. But definitely a cool weekend.
Yeah, I was going to say, those temperatures in the lows are chilly.
Yeah.
Very chilly.
Frosty.
Might have to bump up the heater.
That's right.
I'm trying to avoid it. All right, thanks.
You're
Well, this Friday the 13th, we take you to the Joplin Spook Light. It's a 4-state mystery that's been around for hundreds of years. There are tales with Native American tribes about the light that go back before settlers came in the 1800s. It's seen over several square miles from Hornet, Missouri into Oklahoma, along both 40 and 50 Road, to what the locals refer to as the Devil's Holler Crossroads.
But if you find it, what you're going to see is a ball of luminous light. As it gets closer to you, it looks like it's about the size of a basketball. It's seen along the road, it's seen in the fields, and even up in the trees.
Well, coming up tonight at 6, we meet a four-state man who says he's seen the spook light more than 50 times and find out if our KOAM team has a similar experience. Well, coming up, we learn about the Federal Reserve's plan for interest rates to end the year. Well, topping today's Consumer Watch, another interest rate hike this year is likely. That's according to newly released minutes from the Federal Reserve's September meeting. Most Fed officials said they believe another increase would be appropriate. They noted it depends on how inflation responds to the 11 hikes that have been since last March. For now, financial markets are counting on the Fed leaving interest rates alone in its November meeting, with the possibility of an increase in December. Well, the union representing more than 140,000 auto workers is threatening more strikes, but another major labor dispute appears to be over. Bradley Blackburn has the latest.
Some 85,000 healthcare employees appear to have a new deal with hospital giant Kaiser Permanente. Kaiser and the workers' union announced the tentative agreement, which would raise wages 21% over 4 years and establish a minimum wage for Kaiser healthcare employees, $25 an hour in California and $23 in other states. Workers will vote to approve the deal next week.
But while one labor dispute appears to be ending, the month-long strike at America's big three automakers could be expanding.
We're entering a new phase of this fight, and it demands a new approach.
United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain says new strikes could come at any time.
A negotiation requires both sides making movement. If they're not ready to move, then we're going to give them a push in a language they understand, dollars and cents.
Earlier this week, workers walked off the job at a huge Ford plant in Kentucky after talks with the company broke down. Negotiations continue with General Motors and Stellantis, the maker of Dodge and Chrysler.
We deserve every dime that we've earned, that we work for.
But right now, there is no indication a deal is in the works. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Working full-time at the office is probably going to cost you. A new survey from Owl Lab reports that 66% of U.S. employees who return to the office to work full-time spend an extra, on average, $51 every workday. Expenses, of course, include gas, parking, breakfast, and/or lunch. The report also says 49% of workers feel it's easier to maintain a work-life balance with a remote job. Well, final check of the forecast is next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, how some U.S. cities are boosting security in response to the war in Israel. And then on KOAM News at 6, we'll hear more from a Joplin woman from Israel about the impact of the war there. Plus, how the Miami, Oklahoma Fire Department plans to spend a $5,000 donation. And it's time for Friday Night Football. We'll hear from the Frontenac head coach ahead of their big game against Parsons. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Well, NASA's first mission in space to a mysterious faraway world made largely of metal has launched. The Psyche mission lifted off this morning from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. If successful, Psyche will be the first of many aboard the Falcon Heavy rocket. It'll travel about 2.2 billion miles over the next 6 years. The target is a large metallic asteroid that could represent the core of an early planetary building block.
And I've heard that that asteroid is worth like $20 trillion.
The real reason we're headed there.
That's probably true. All right, let's take a look at the forecast. We're expecting cloudy skies tomorrow with a high of only 59, cool on Sunday with a high of 58. Next chance of rain won't arrive until about Thursday of next week, and it could stick around a little bit, so we'll have to wait and see on that, but right now I'm going to go with just Thursday with rain.
All right. Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next, and of course, we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Have a great evening and an even better weekend.